My name is Chloe, and today I'm here to talk about all the books that I read in the second half of January. So you can see this tower is like looming. So we're going to try to talk before it crumbles on me. We'll see. I kind of like living on the edge. So as always, I'm going to talk about the stats for the second half of the month, as well as the books that I read with my kids, even though those are not included in the stats, just in case you're interested. We'll go through them kind of quickly. I will go through them pretty much in the order that I read them. I'll do the books I read with my kids and then break it down by age group, but in the order that I read them. And so let's just get into it. So, let's see, in the second half of January, so from the 16th to the 31st, I read 15 books and DNF'd one. January, it would be interesting to look back historically. I think January is always one of my best reading months because I love like the start of a new year. I love going gangbusters, like just starting full force. And so I think it would probably be one of the best. And this kind of continued. So I read 4,973 pages, which is 311 pages per day. 332 pages per book is the average length. So that's 0.94 books a day. So almost a book a day, which is crazy. Let's see, 11 were novels, 2 were graphic novels, 1 was a tome, and 1 was an anthology. 13 were adult and 2 were middle grade. Again, these are of the books that I read for myself. I read 2 middle grade by myself. 9 were from my shelf and 6 were from somewhere else. And so that feels good. My goal is always 50%. So there we go. Let's see. So I am trying to read off my shelves. Yes. However, I like to have digital copies to help me get through it in a more timely manner because my physical reading time is not what I want it to be. So I used 8 from Libby, 2 just directly off my shelf. Let's see, 2 from the library, 1 from NetGalley, 1 from Libro FM, and 1 from Hoopla. So I'm curious if you guys want a video about all the places that I get ebooks and audiobooks. Let me know because I actually had a friend in real life ask me about that lately, and I don't have any like crazy cool places or sources necessarily, but I definitely do utilize a lot of different services, and they're all free to me pretty much. So if you're interested, let me know. But yeah, definitely felt good reading from kind of a variety there. I read 11 on audio and 4 physical. No ebooks this month. So, again, wondering how I read so much. It's audio. I love putting an earbud in and listening while I'm doing other things. Let's see. I read 2 that were new releases and 13 that were backlists. And then as far as genres go, I read 5 women's fiction, 2 mystery thriller, 2 contemporary, 2 historical, 2 romance, and 1 sci-fi fantasy. So kind of all over the board as always. As far as the star ratings go, I had, of course, 1 DNF, 1 2-star, 2 2.5 stars, 3 3 stars, 5 3.5 stars, which is, I would say, I mean, pretty commonly 3.5 is my most average rating. And then 2 4 stars and 2 4.5 stars. So averages out to 3.37. So 2 4.5 stars, like you guys know, I'm so stingy with 5 stars. And I go back and forth on if I want to change that or not because I could give these 5 stars. However, there was something holding me back in both of them. So let's just get into the books. So I'll start with the books that I read with my kids. So we got a big old stack here. Not too big though. So we read 2 in the Jada Jones series. So we have Sleepover Scientist and Dancing Queen. And Jada Jones is a 4th grade girl who loves science. And so in Sleepover Scientist, she is having this sleepover with her best friend has moved away. And so she's got 2 best friends that are not like her OG best friend. And so she's having this sleepover with her 2 best friends, and then her other friend comes back. So it's the 4 of them. And 2 of them are really into science. 2 of them are not. And so it's kind of figuring out, like, can we still be friends even if we're interested in different things? And I really, I remember going through that as a young child. And so I really like that discussion. And then in Dancing Queen, Jada Jones is a part of the student council, and they decide to have a dance to raise money for coats for kids who need coats. And there's a huge emphasis. It's like a kindness week or a caring week or something, and just doing things for others and caring about others within the school, all that kind of stuff. And I really like that. So these are really good books for young middle grade girls. There's prominent boy characters too, so I think boys might enjoy it, but definitely for girls. Next is one of my daughter's favorite series, and this is The Haunted Library by Dory Hillstead Butler. And this is Ghost at the Fire Station. This is not my favorite series, honestly. This is about this little boy named Kaz. He's a ghost, and he and his family all lived together until the roof or something got taken off of the house that they lived in. And so they all got scattered because wind is ghosts' enemy. Like, wind can carry them away, and they have no power to stop it. So they all got scattered, and he now lives in this library with this little girl who can see ghosts. And so they're friends, and they have kind of started a little business trying to find other ghosts. So somebody calls and says, hey, I think there's a ghost in the fire station, and they go try to figure out who it is. So it was cute. It was fun. Everyone is like, honestly, like, it takes me probably half the book to figure out what's going on, and I like that a kid's book can do that. So there's that. Then this is The Lighthouse Family, and this is The Turtle. It's number maybe 4 by Cynthia Rylant. And this one, I feel like as the series goes on, the books get shorter and shorter and shorter. It's a tiny little thing, and like, it's big pages, but this is almost like bordering on like a picture book. I don't know, but it's about the Lighthouse Family is a cat who lives in this lighthouse, and then a dog like washes up to shore. They become family, and then they take in 3 mice, and so they're the Lighthouse Family. And now every other book they're helping different animals that are stranded. So this is a sea turtle who really just wanted to come north to see the northern lights. Her name is Aurora, and her mom named her after the northern lights, so she really wanted to see it, but now she's stuck because the water's too cold for her to travel back to her family. So they help her. It's super cute. Next is a series I've talked about before. Isadora Moon Has a Sleepover. Isadora Moon is half fairy, half vampire, and trying to live in the human world. And so she has a sleepover. Hijinks ensue. Super cute. And then last, we always read a devotional or a kid's Bible at least twice a day. Like, we read it at like rest time, and then again at bedtime usually. And so we started and got about halfway through this big interactive picture, the Big Picture Interactive Storybook Bible, and this is an older one. So like the interactive elements no longer work. The apps are no longer available. And this one is just, it is a very, very close to the Bible, and not, I would say this is for like an older kid, honestly. Like, it's not sugar coated at all. It's not, I mean, it's pretty, it's not like, there is a Christ connection to everything. You know, how all the stories relate back to Christ, but this just wasn't engaging, and it was a little much for my girls at their age. So we'll save this and read it again maybe in 5 or 10 years. Okay, so that's everything I read with them. Now, I did read 2 middle grade for myself, and it is Invisible Emmy and Positively Izzy. I don't know if I've talked about these yet, but this is a series. I know I talked about it on Patreon, so if you're not on Patreon, that's always down below, but this is a graphic novel series by Terry Levinson that I have loved in the past. I like 5-starred these books, but it was kind of in the era where I was 5-starring more than I do now. But I decided, like, I read the most recent one, which is number 7 or 8 or something, recently, and I thought, well, I'm going to go back because I've just kind of jumped around. So I'm going to go back and read them in order and see what I think about it that way. So Invisible Emmy I have on my shelf. This is the first one. This is about a little girl who just thinks she's invisible, and she's got a friend that there's kind of this popular girl named Katie that so we get both perspectives. It goes back and forth between both of their storylines, and then there's a big twist in the end. That's kind of what these are known for. Positively Izzy, there's 2 characters, Izzy and Brianna, which is the best friend from this one. And it goes back and forth between their stories, and there's a big twist in the end, and if you find out how they're connected. The Izzy and Brianna were, like, the storylines were a little too close, and I felt like I was getting confused sometimes. And this one was just okay for me. And honestly, these are the reason that I don't like to reread, because I loved these, and now they're maybe 3.5 stars. I'm liking them fine. But they're just, I don't know, they're just okay for me. So gosh dang it. I like had these built up in my head. Because it's like 7 books. So I thought it would be awesome to go back and reread, and it's just not. So, nah. Anyway. Okay, now we get into the adult books. So this month I did the Read in the New Year readathon, and a handful of these are going to be from there. So I will link that down below if you want any more of my thoughts on the books that I read for that. But so I read, let's see, The Secret to Southern Charm and The Southern Side of Paradise. These are both in Christy Woodson Harvey's Peachtree Bluff series, and The Secret of Southern Charms is about Sloane. Sloane is a mother. Her husband is military, and he has gone missing. And so it's basically, this book is her in a very deep depression, and her family and her mom and sisters helping her to take care of the kids, helping her to kind of come out of her depression and find out what's going on with their husband. This one is The Southern Side of Paradise. So this is the youngest sister, Emerson, and she is an actress. And she's an actress that loves acting, but doesn't love like the production part of it, like the celebrity part of it, I guess. She doesn't seem to love that as well. And she's engaged to this man who's really perfect on paper. They've been together since high school or something. But there's kind of a love triangle with the local coffee shop guy. And I really liked this character. Honestly, this one kind of suffered from second book syndrome for me. It got a little unfocused, a little scattered. This one I felt like did a really good job, and this one was 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I just really like this series. So there's that. Next is a series that, goodness gracious, it's an old one, but it's a good one. Slightly Suburban. This is the Slightly series by Wendy Markham. This is women's fiction at its early 2000s finest. And so this is number 5, I think, in the series. It's like slightly single, slightly engaged, slightly married, slightly suburban. I don't know. I'm probably missing one in there. But this is about a couple, let's see, Tracy and Jack, I think is his name. And they live in New York City for all the other books, and now they moved to the suburbs, and it's the good, the bad, the ugly of the suburbs. And yeah, I love this series so much. This is the last one, and this is from the Red Dress Inc. Line of books, and this one, like, that publication, like, series, or that publication, whatever, it's under Harlequin. It only lasted, that imprint, there you go, that only lasted a few years, and I love them. They're like women's fiction chick lit. I love them. I haven't read a ton, but these are just really great mindless reads, and I'm sad that the series is over. Next is Beyond the Wire by James D. Shipman. So this one is definitely one that I read for the Read in the New Year, and as well as both those Christy Woodson Harveys. And this one is about a man and a woman both in war prisoner camps during World War II. And they are both doing different things, trying to stage a rebellion, and it's based on a true life thing. He's in Auschwitz, and I think she's in Bergen-Belsen. I don't know that for sure, but anyway, and it's them falling in love, but also trying to stage this rebellion. And I didn't care for this book. I gave it, I think, 2 stars, and the reason is because, like, I felt like it was slow, but also underexplained, like how they were doing all the things that they were doing and how they had the freedoms they had, but also, like, I mean, it's harrowing, and I just felt like the tension was off, the pace was off. This wasn't a book for me. Next is If I'd Known Then, and this is women in their 20s and 30s write letters to their younger selves, and this is edited by Ellen Spraggan. So this is the anthology. It's a bunch of different people, women, female celebrities, writing to their younger selves. And so I'm trying, of course, like, so it's like this little blurb where Ellen Spraggan's is talking about who they are and what major life events happened, and then it's a letter to themselves. Most of them have pictures. There we go, Sasha Cohen. Most have pictures. Of course, the 2 I flipped to did not. But yeah, and so I would say, I think I didn't love this, and the reason is, one, I'm not the target audience. Like, I'm the 30-year-old writing to my younger self, not the younger self needing the inspiration necessarily, which is actually kind of interesting, and I think this would have been very cathartic for the people in this book, but as a reader, it got me inspired to think about what would I say to my younger self, but as a reader, it wasn't that great because all of these were pretty redundant. And Becca from Becca Books and Bujo read this also, and she brought up a really good point that all of these people achieved extreme success. And so they basically are saying, like, follow your heart, don't let anybody get you down, dream big, blah, blah, blah. You're going to do great. You're going to be this great person. And that's true for them, and that's great. But it would be really nice, like, for average Joes, or average Janes that don't necessarily have the, like, either the connections or the desire to be celebrities, but they, they just are overcoming trauma, because there's definitely trauma in this book and definitely things that people have to overcome. And so it would be nice to see like people with less privilege maybe talking about it. But it was okay. And it definitely made me think, what would I say to my younger self? So there's that. Next is Keeping Lucy by T. Greenwood. So this is, I also read for the Read in the New Year Readathon, but this is one of my 4.5 stars. This is about a mother who, she gives birth to it's in the 60s, late 60s. She gives birth to a child with Down syndrome, and her husband and his dad so her husband and father-in-law are big name lawyers, and they don't want that responsibility of having a child with special needs. They don't want that kind of like with their name. Like, it's just terrible. And so they, without her knowledge, send this child to this school for children with disabilities. And it's a boarding school. They cannot go see her, all that kind of stuff. And they can, but it's highly recommended not to, because it messes with the kid's ability to adapt or whatever. Well, then years later, the kid is 2, and the mother's best friend says, hey, did you see, like on the news or whatever, there's some bad stuff going on in that school. And so this woman goes, despite her husband's protestations, is that a word? But despite her husband's protests, she goes to see if what they say is going on is actually going on, and if her child is okay. Now, this husband has said that her child is dead. Like, I mean, all friends and families think it was a stillborn. They don't know anything about it. And she takes her 6-year-old son and says, we're out. We're going to do this. And so it's a little bit of a cat and mouse chase, because her husband and father-in-law are very against her going. But it's also a really... like, it just made me feel things as a mother. Like, there is nothing that could keep me from my kids, especially if I thought they were in danger like that. Like, not a chance. And so, just the emotional impact that it had, the cat and mouse, it was just high tension and definitely stressful, but really good. Next is Wishful Thinking by Celestine Martin. This is I don't know. This one was not for me. This is about a girl, Lucinda, and she has this, like, she's a witch. She lives in this land that it felt very contemporary, but they have like magical creatures, and she wishes for more excitement in her life, and so she gets put under this curse or whatever, that she can't say no to anything. And so then she also has an ex come back into her life, or her high school crush or something. There's a romance. This just wasn't good for me. Next is The Night Swim by Megan Golden. This one is the first in the Rachel Crawl series, maybe? I can't remember. But this is about a podcaster who has a woman that continually reaches out to her about a cold case where her sister was killed. And she doesn't think, like, the police didn't look into it. They said it was suicide. She doesn't think it was. She wants this podcaster to get involved with helping, because the podcaster is in the town where this happened, because there is an active rape case going on. And so she's reporting on that and this cold case. And so it's her trying to figure out what happened, as well as the current day stuff. And so, of course, I was trying to figure out the whole time how the two things were connected. And they were in a way that was kind of unsatisfying. Like, Megan Golden, I read Stay Awake, and I felt the same, that like it really gets you hooked, and then it's just kind of unsatisfying. So I gave this like 3.5 stars. If you liked Beartown, I definitely would say this has a Beartown vibe, because it's a male athlete that is accused of rape, and there's kind of the same vibes going on where the whole town's involved. This also had a little bit of the like None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell element, because there is a podcast element. However, I listened to this on audio, and I thought the podcast element was much weaker than it was in the Lisa Jewell. So this one was 3.5 stars. I kind of think Megan Golden's going to be just like a middle of the road character or author for me, but there's that. This is also part of the Read in the New Year, so I'll let you link there if you want to go watch more. And then last is I Almost Forgot About You by Terry McMillan. So this is the author of How Stella Got Her Groove Back and Waiting to Exhale. And this is very much the same vibes as that. This is about a 50-ish-year-old woman who, her kids are grown. She's an eye doctor and never really wanted to be an eye doctor. It's just kind of boring her. She doesn't really want to do it. So she decides just to like reinvent her life. And kind of simultaneously, one of the ways she's doing that is by contacting all of her significant exes and saying, like, just kind of, hey, thanks for being in my life. You were meaningful to me. Not really wanting to, like, re-engage with anybody as far as, like, romantic relationship, but just kind of, like, saying hey. And so there's one that she's particularly interested in reconnecting with, and there's another one that kind of pops out of nowhere, and so there's a cute romance, but this is really about the woman starting over, and it very much has the same vibes of Waiting to Exhale and all that, where like her friends and her family are all a part of the story, and I really enjoyed this. So there's that. So that is everything that I read in the second half of January. Hey everyone, so I was just sitting down to edit this video, and it's like 6:45 on Sunday night. No, it's not. It's 5:10 on Sunday night. Don't know what I was thinking. Except that this is going to post in about 12 hours, and I realized I did not talk about the 2 NetGalley books that I read. So I read Emergency Contact by Lauren Lane, and I gave this one 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. So it's a second chance, kind of, marriage in trouble, kind of. So it's about this couple. They are divorced, and he is about to go home for Christmas, and he's his girlfriend is meeting him like at his family home in Chicago or somewhere, and he's going to propose on Christmas Eve. And so he's trying to get home, and he gets this call from the hospital that his ex-wife is in the hospital, has been in an accident, and he was her emergency contact. And so he goes to help her, and a whole series of events happens. He decides to go ahead and just take her home also, because she has a concussion and she can't go to sleep. She can't be left alone, all the things. And so he's like, all right, just come with me. Let's go. And so there's a series of mishaps, and it is so cute. He is like an ultimate cinnamon roll. However, the reason it was not 5 stars is because he's got a girlfriend that he's about to propose to the whole time. So like, even though this was a couple first, like, you can't really ship this couple because he's got a girl waiting with his family in Chicago for him. And like, so, I mean, you can't really ship their romance when, I mean, he's got somebody else. And so if he would have handled that differently, or if the plot would have been a little different, I think I would have liked it more. But I mean, it was so cute, and I really liked the character growth of our female. She is a lawyer, and she's definitely the grumpy. She lost her dad on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or something many years ago, and so she's very anti-Christmas, and he's Mr. Christmas, and so it's really cute. It's a grumpy sunshine, but like there's that element of the girl being back home that is really off-putting. So there's that. And then I also read The Girl on the News by Elizabeth Carpenter. And this was a NetGalley, and it's pitched as like a thriller of a girl sees, a mother sees that her daughter is on the news as being missing. But she said her daughter's like right there or something. And so she's like, who's what? So the way it actually goes down is she sees her daughter on the news as missing, but she thinks she knows where her daughter is. So she's like, why is somebody faking this? And there's a whole background of like serial killings that have happened on the same date, and who did it. Is this the same? Is her daughter actually missing? It was so bad. I mean, it was honestly so bad. I gave this 2 stars. Didn't like it at all. I thought it was jumbled. I just didn't care for it at all. And so yeah, 2 stars on that one. Didn't like it. But now that is all the books that I read in the first half of January. Let me know if you've read them. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.